Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as a daily office lectionary. And I am in the main church, the chapel, here at the Retreat Center, where we are holding the St. Michael's Conference for Youth. This morning, I thought we would take a look at the lesson that's assigned for the deuterocanonical book known as Maccabees. Remember, the deuterocanonical or apocryphal books are books that are written between what is commonly called the Old Testament and the New Testament. And because of that, these books were written in Greek, not in Hebrew, because of the time period that they were written in. And they are accepted as canonical authority in the Roman Catholic and Orthodox Church, and with some authority in Anglicanism and the Episcopal Church as well. Interestingly, of course, the churches that decided that the Bible would be the ultimate authority, most of them have rejected a part of the Bible. So I always found that to be very interesting. But we do accept this book, Maccabees. And it's about the time when the Greeks have gained control over this particular region of the world. And we of course, we know in Jesus' time that the Romans were the occupiers. And you know, if there's a good person to be occupied by, it's the Romans, because they, once they conquered you, allowed you to continue to practice your religion and keep your culture. As long as you paid taxes to Caesar and you didn't cause too much of an uproar, they were happy to let you do those things, whatever you pleased. However, the Greeks, when they would go in and capture a region, they were hell-bent on destroying the religion of that region and the culture as well. That is what they tried to do in Israel. And so this particular, in the first book of Maccabees, there are 4 books of Maccabees in the Apocrypha, or the Deuterocanonical books. This is the beginning of the first book of Maccabees, and it kind of sets up what becomes the story of the occupation of the Greeks and what they did in trying to destroy the Jewish religion and the original covenant, and then ultimately the revolt by the Maccabees in order to overthrow that. So we're at chapter 1, verse 54. Now, the 15th year of the month Chisleu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they'd rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And whosoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put him to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, and as many as were found in the cities. Now, the 25th day of the month did they sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was built upon the altar of God. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore, the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there were a great wrath upon Israel. So this is a time of great occupation. And yet what this is setting up, of course, is the fact that despite the fact that these conquerors have now defiled the temple, have set up their false idols, and are not just forcing people to do it, and many people did go ahead and give in to their oppressors and reject the original covenant and burn incense and sacrifice to idols. As it says at the end here, some were resolved, and ultimately that resolve would be culminated in their rebellion against their oppressors. Oh, and by the way, you remember that story of Hanukkah that you've heard growing up? Well, that's found here in the book of Maccabees, but there'll be more of that in the coming weeks. So today is Tuesday, and of course I'm at the St. Michael's Conference for Youth, so we don't have worship at St. John's Church, but I do hope that you are reading the lessons, and that you, most importantly, are not only saying your prayers, but I pray that you are also saying those prayers for us here at the conference, St. Michael's Conference for Youth this week. And may God bless you with a wonderful Tuesday.